So today I'm going to start a new series where I compare and review different plates and stamping products that you can find online. A lot of these are on Amazon. There's a wide range of different prices for these products, and it's hard to know which ones are really any good. So by the end of this series, you're going to know exactly all the pros and cons for all of these different plate brands. I'm going to start with the plates themselves. Then I'll do a series on the different stamping polishes and a series on the different stampers. So here we go. We're going to start with plates. And today I'm going to be reviewing plates from a brand called Panda Hall. This one is really common to find on Amazon. So this one is easy to find on Amazon. They have a lot of different plate options, and they're a relatively good price. I got this package, which includes 3 plates, a scraper, and a stamper for $9.19. So if you exclude the scraper and stamper, you're talking about maybe $2 a plate. That's a pretty good price. When I first got these, I noticed they look like they're really nice quality. They come well packaged and protected. They're a little bit thin, but they're sturdy enough that they're not going to bend on accident. And they're all protected by the typical blue sheet of sticky film that you find on most plates that you buy. I picked this one. It was called the European style, which was the design. And these plates, I really like the designs that they had available from this brand, Panda Hall. These plates have a lot of kind of Art Deco designs. They also have a number of sort of large full nail patterns, which I like to use a lot. They have one that's sort of like a picture frame that you could put something small, some small design in to make it stand out. Just a lot of great full nail background kind of designs, and also some really cool decorative details. They also have these, which are great for sort of like a patterned French tip type stamp. So overall, I really like the variety of designs that they had, and they're the kinds of designs that I tend to use a lot. So I'm excited about this brand. Now, what I like to do with each of these brands that I test out is I'm going to test 3 different stamps. I'm going to test where they exist. One large area stamp where there's a large area of polish. So perhaps something like this. I'm going to test out one fine detail stamp, something that has perhaps a fine line or some really fine details. And if there's anything unique about that stamping plate, I'm going to test that out as well. So for instance, this one has some numbers, or maybe I'll do this one that has some writing on it. I'm going to do this as scientifically as I can. So I'm going to use the same base polish and stamping polish for each brand that I test. I'm also going to use the same stamper and the same scraper. And this is my Maniology Icebox stamper, which is kind of my favorite stamper, and a scraper that came with it. This is what I use most of the time. And for the base coat, I'm using a black nail polish, and I'm using a white stamping polish, and that's just to make sure that any flaws in the pickup or transfer are really obvious and easy to see on video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one right here because it's got sort of like a medium size area and also a little bit of fine detail. So it'll tell us a lot about these plates with a single stamp. I'll add my white polish. I'll scrape and I'll stamp. And I'm going to try and do this relatively quickly so that I'm being fair. That looks beautiful. That's a great transfer. And I would say that transferred perfectly. You can see all the fine detail. We've got a big area here I do see a little couple specks of black inside that larger area. Those larger areas can be kind of difficult to transfer. You could always clean that up with just a little bit of extra polish on a small brush. But overall, I would say that's a pretty good quality. I'd give that, let's say, an 8 out of 10. Now I'm going to do one with a bit more fine detail. And for this one, I'm going to take this one right here. I see a really fine line there. And oftentimes those fine lines can be really difficult to pick up and transfer. Whenever I do fine lines, I usually try to swipe in the direction of the line because I find that it leaves more polish in the line itself. That actually transferred really nicely. I'm really impressed by that. And then we're going to stamp. And again, that fine line transferred really nicely. The whole line transferred. And I don't see any details that are missing from that transfer. So far, so good for Panda Hall. Now, last one, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do if anything special about a plate. And this one, I kind of like this New Year's one. It's both got fine designs. It's also got lettering on it. Lettering's always important to have a good stamping plate because otherwise it will transfer really messily. Let's see. That looks pretty good, and I'm going to transfer it relatively quickly because I want to be fair. We're gonna, oh, that looks nice. That is really clear. There's a couple little dots. There's a couple little dots you can see where there might be a little bit of black showing through, but very little. You wouldn't be able to see that unless you were really looking closely at this nail. So overall, I would say that Panda Hall has a pretty good product here. So the pros, I think they have great designs. I actually had a hard time deciding which ones to buy because I liked a lot of their designs. So in terms of if you have a similar style to me, this seems like a great brand. The transfer seems to work very well. They arrived protected with film and they weren't damaged in any way. As far as cons, I will say they are flimsier than some of the plates. It would still be very difficult to bend this in any way that would damage it, but they are flimsier. I also don't love the fact that they don't seem to really have any indication on the plate themselves what the plate is called. So I have no way to reference this plate. I don't love that because I do love to reference my plates. And even when I'm doing my nails, I actually write down the color and the plate number that I use so that I can recreate a design if I ever want to. So I don't love that. That's a pretty big con in my book. But overall, if you're just looking for some plates to round out your casual collection, Panda Hall seems like a pretty good brand to go with. So thanks for watching. I have a lot more brands that I'm going to be doing in this series, including Beauty, CADS, Born Pretty, and some other ones you can find on Amazon. And just to be thorough, I'm also going to compare the Maniology plates, which are probably what I use 80% of the time. So I've got a lot of those. So we'll be doing all of these. I hope you watch the whole series, and I hope you learn a lot about what is and isn't worth buying and what would work best for you. Thanks so much. Like if you enjoyed this content, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more from this series.